Good morning, everybody, and thanks for joining us today for our cyber liability insurance webinar, what every small business needs to know. Just a few housekeeping items. As you can tell, I'm coming from our technology room now. This is where all of the repairs and things like that take place when we bring in computers that need help. I will just jump right in. So today our topic is what every small business needs to know about cyber liability insurance. Now, when we are done today with this presentation, I have a couple of things for you that will be helpful in your quest for better cybersecurity. First of all, we're going to offer a free dark web scan for each business that's represented here today. This scan will reveal if any of your organization's emails have been compromised and are appearing on the dark web. In addition, you'll be able to download the slides from this presentation in a PDF format. I'll share the link to that page at the end. So cybersecurity is much more than a matter of IT. If you've seen our previous webinars, you'll know I like to use this quote in several of them because it's perfect for what we're talking about. The cybersecurity is not just relegated to software or hardware or something like that, or something that the tech guys do. It comes down to what you guys and your employees do every single day when dealing with incoming emails, outgoing emails, things of that nature. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that as we get into the presentation today. So just to give you a little background, Central Texas Technology Solutions, or CTTS, was founded 20 years ago by Josh Wilmoth, our current president and CEO. Since then, we've provided IT services and support to hundreds of small businesses and nonprofits throughout Central Texas. We're going to talk about 5 key things today. Number one, what is cyber insurance and what are the main types of cyber insurance? Number 2, the top 3 myths about cyber insurance. Number 3, why your small business needs cyber insurance coverage. Number 4, what cyber insurance covers and the different types of cyber insurance available. And then number 5, the top 5 reasons cyber insurance is denied. And yes, it happens all the time. Of course, insurance companies are going to do whatever they can to keep from paying out a bunch of money. So it's real important when you start working with a cyber insurance provider and they have the questionnaire and all that kind of stuff that they fill out, that you fill it out accurately and completely, and that you abide by what you have agreed to. I'll get more into that a little bit later as well. So our objective today is to help you understand what cyber liability insurance is and what it is not, and how it can protect your small business from financial ruin. Bottom line, your business is meaningful and it deserves to be protected. During this presentation, we're going to talk about several things you can do to help facilitate that protection. Now, the challenge today is that cyber criminals aren't only interested in data from big companies, they also have their sights set on small businesses because they know they aren't as likely to have advanced cybersecurity procedures in place that the big enterprises do. Some companies skip out on top-notch security measures, assuming that cyber insurance will cover their costs in the event of a catastrophe. This is simply not true. Strong cybersecurity measures are necessary to safeguard your company and are typically a requirement to qualify for the insurance coverage, as I mentioned a minute ago. This is where a company like CTTS comes into play. So cyber insurance is really meant to be a backup plan for your cybersecurity in the event of a breach. Your business is important to your family, your employees, your clients, and your community, and they deserve to be treated and protected as such. Before we get into the meat of this presentation, I want to share with you some of the biggest myths around cyber liability insurance. So number 1, all my small business needs is a cyber insurance plan to cover the cost of a cyber incident. The truth is that a cyber insurance policy will only cover you if you have the cybersecurity measures stipulated in the contract. So it's highly unlikely your application will be accepted if you aren't compliant. Also, if you get coverage and fall out of compliance later, your insurance provider can deny your claims in the event of a breach. Number 2, cyber insurance is easy to get. The truth is, with the rate that cybercrime is spreading and the amount it's costing organizations, insurers are understandably becoming reluctant to take on so much risk. While receiving cyber insurance coverage is not impossible, it's tough and it's growing more expensive and harder to obtain. I heard recently that cyber insurance could become the single largest expense for small businesses within the next 5 years, even more than your overhead and labor. That is why it is imperative that you work with a professional IT firm to get your infrastructure in order and keep it that way. Which brings me to myth number 3. If I have a cyber insurance policy, my claims will be covered if I experience an incident. The truth is, if you can't prove you've adhered to your policy's terms prior to, during, and after a cybersecurity event, it's very likely that your claim will be denied. You can't just set it and forget it when it comes to cyber insurance coverage. So here are just a few cyber liability statistics to consider. Over 80% of small businesses are not properly equipped to recover from a cyber incident. Less than 10% of small businesses have the proper cyber insurance coverage. And there were over 1,200 publicly disclosed cyber incidents last year, almost 3 incidents per day. Less than 15% of small businesses consider their cyber incident prevention and response strategy as effective. And over 50% of small businesses do not have a cybersecurity expert in-house. Now, I was kind of surprised at this latest stat. I would expect this number to be much higher, like 80%. But I guess that depends on what you consider a small business. So what is cyber insurance and why does your small business need coverage? It's no secret that cybercrime is on the rise. A recent study indicates that cybercrime is now the most serious threat to small businesses, accounting for roughly half of all attacks. Cyber insurance is an insurance policy that can help your business pay for damages and recovery costs resulting from cyber events, such as data breaches, cyber theft, ransomware, and more. Complying with your policy requirements maximizes your chances of receiving a payout to cover the cost of audits, forensics, compliance fines, lawsuits, and even extortion payments or ransoms. There are many steps businesses can take to prevent a cyber incident, such as investing in robust cybersecurity measures. However, if an incident does occur, having cyber insurance can help you recover financially. So why have cyber insurance? Well, cyber attacks are now a serious threat to small businesses because they typically lack the enterprise level protection. Cyber criminals aren't only interested in data from big companies, they also have their sights set on small businesses because they know they aren't as likely to have the advanced cybersecurity procedures in place that big companies do. Some companies skip out on top-notch security measures, assuming that cyber insurance will cover their costs in the event of a catastrophe. This simply isn't true. Strong cybersecurity measures are necessary to safeguard your company and are typically a requirement to qualify for insurance coverage. As I mentioned before, cyber insurance is really meant to be a backup plan for your cybersecurity in the event of a breach. Each company offering a policy has a unique list of coverage options available, as well as exclusions, leading to a plethora of options. There are online tools available to help you as a small business owner select the coverages and options that are best for your business and your industry. And it can really pay off to speak to more than one cyber liability insurance provider because every single plan offers different options and you need to do your homework. If your business handles or stores personal sensitive information online, cyber insurance should be a top priority. This goes without saying, but you're ultimately responsible for securing and protecting your company, employee, and client data at all times. It's a huge responsibility and one that can be bolstered by having a quality managed IT service provider in your court. We can help you understand the questions being asked by your cyber insurance provider and how it applies to your business. We can help implement the security measures, both hardware and software, that can mitigate a breach in the first place. We can also help in the development of an incident response plan in the event a breach does take place. And we offer ongoing cybersecurity awareness training for all employees to help them keep security top of mind. So there are essentially three different types of cyber insurance. I'm going to cover them briefly here. So number one, you can choose from different cyber insurance plans based on your specific business requirements. So number one, cyber theft insurance, cyber theft insurance. With more and more businesses storing sensitive data online, the risk of a cyber threat is more prominent than ever. As a result, ensuring that your company is adequately insured against this growing threat is critical. Cyber theft insurance protects businesses from financial losses caused by digital theft. So this type of insurance can cover a variety of cyber theft scenarios, including first-party cyber theft, embezzlement scams, payroll redirection, and gift card scams. Businesses of all sizes can be victims of cyber theft, and no business is too small to need cyber theft insurance. Therefore, even if there is a remote chance that your data or digital assets will be stolen, ensure you have cyber theft insurance for your business. Number two is cyber liability insurance. So cyber liability insurance includes third-party coverage for damages and losses, data breaches, regulatory penalties, credit monitoring, and lawsuits. Cyber liability insurance is a vital tool for small businesses like yours because the financial ramifications of a cybersecurity breach can be more severe than you can handle. This does not mean you should panic right now. It simply means that having cyber liability insurance can help your business recover and move forward even after a breach. And number three, cyber extortion and ransomware insurance. So cyber extortion insurance protects businesses against ransomware attacks. This type of insurance can help cover the cost of ransom payments, recovery expenses, business interruptions, and more. It can also provide access to a team of experts who can help with cyber extortion negotiations and forensics. Now, keep in mind that an attack could still succeed even with the right cybersecurity solutions in place to protect your business. That's why it's critical to have cyber extortion insurance. It can help you recover from a ransomware attack and significantly reduce the financial impact. Having coverage and being eligible for a payout are not the same thing. Just because you've been accepted for cyber insurance coverage doesn't mean you're automatically eligible for a payout if your business experiences an incident. Many insurance providers are unwilling to take on what they consider to be excessive risk associated with providing cyber insurance due to the rate and cost of cybercrime right now. To maintain a good standing with a cyber insurance company, you must be compliant with their standards, which usually means having a strong cybersecurity posture. A payout may not be available if, for example, you meet the policy requirements at the time of acceptance, but then fall out of the client's compliance by the time you experience an incident. So let's talk about the top 5 reasons cyber insurance is denied, and then I'm going to share with you some actual stories about this. So number 1, companies have poor prevention practices in place. Number 2, companies fail to document preventative measures. Number 3, a third party or contractor is at fault. Number 4, accidental errors and omissions. And number 5, coverage does not extend beyond the interruption timeframe. So whatever period your contract is covered for. So let me share with you some real life examples of cyber liability insurance claims that are being denied. Okay. In Cottage Health versus Columbia Casualty, the issue stemmed from a data breach at Cottage Health System. They notified their cyber insurer, Columbia Casualty Company, and filed a claim for coverage. However, Columbia Casualty sought a declaratory judgment against Cottage Health, claiming that they were not obligated to defend or compensate Cottage Health because the insured did not comply with the terms of their policy. According to Columbia Casualty, Cottage Health agreed to maintain specific minimum risk controls as a condition of their coverage, which they then failed to do. This case reminds organizations of the importance of reading their cyber policy, understanding what it contains, and adhering to its terms. The second example is BitPay versus Massachusetts Bay Insurance Company. BitPay is a leading global cryptocurrency payment service provider. They filed a $1.8 million insurance claim, but Massachusetts Bay Insurance Company denied it. The loss was caused by a phishing scam in which a hacker broke into the network of BitPay's business partner. Now keep that in mind, it's a business partner. Stole the credentials of the CFO of BitPay, pretended to be the CFO of BitPay, and requested the transfer of more than 5,000 Bitcoins to a fake account. Massachusetts Bay Insurance stated in its denial that BitPay's loss was not direct and thus was not covered by the policy. Massachusetts Bay Insurance asserted that having a business partner phished does not count per the policy. Although BitPay is appealing the denial, this case emphasizes the importance of carefully reviewing insurance policies to ensure that you understand what scenarios are covered. This incident also highlights the importance of employee security awareness training and the need to reach out to an IT service provider if you don't have a regular training policy. And number 3, International Control Services versus Property Casualty Company. So Travelers Property Casualty Company requested a district court to reject International Control Services ransomware attack claim. The company argued that International Control Services failed to properly use multi-factor authentication, which was required to obtain cyber insurance. MFA is a type of authentication that uses multiple factors to confirm a user's identity. We've talked about that in previous webinars. Travelers Property Casualty Company claims that International Control Services falsely stated on its policy application materials that MFA is required for employees and third parties to access email, log into the network remotely, and access endpoints, servers, etc. They stated that International Control Service was only using MFA protocol on its firewall, and that access to its other systems, including its servers, which were the target of the ransomware attack in question, were not protected by MFA. This case serves as a reminder that when it comes to underwriting policies, insurers are increasingly scrutinizing companies' cybersecurity practices, and that companies must be honest about their cybersecurity posture. Travelers Property Casualty Company said it wants the court to declare the insurance contract null and void, annul the policy, and declare that it has no duty to reimburse or defend International Control Services for any claim. So there's a lot at stake here. So next, I'm going to talk to you about 6 ways that you can protect your business. Number 1, you need to educate yourself and your employees. Staying current on cybersecurity trends, procedures, and best practices are important. As ransomware attacks continue to increase and cause more substantial damages, it's necessary to understand the latest threats and how these attacks are carried out. Not only is it now necessary to be able to quickly identify a ransomware attempt, it's also important to understand when to pay a ransom demand and when not to. It's generally important to consider the likelihood that the attacker will provide the correct decryption method, whether the network has suffered corruption as a result of the attack, and whether there are any existing backups available, even if they're not current. You and your employees are the first line of defense against attacks. You should be aware of the latest ransomware trends, phishing tricks, and robocalls that could potentially lead to a breach. Understanding how to identify these risks will prevent human error and potentially allowing unauthorized access. I encourage you to regularly check the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency website at cisa.gov for the latest in cyber threats from the Department of Homeland Security. Number two, we see this all the time, update your software, okay? While many attacks are due to user error, others are executed through weaknesses or glitches in software or security systems. Although this small step can feel tedious and repetitive, it's important that you keep all technology and software up to date with the latest and most advanced versions available. These security patches and updates address any known vulnerabilities. Any vulnerabilities left as is can be taken advantage of by a hacker. If you have the option to receive updates automatically, this is the most highly recommended option by CISA. I mentioned them before. When a software program support or updates are discontinued, this is known as end of life or EOL. Okay. Any EOL software product should be retired immediately. Number three, protect your passwords. This is so easy to do, and yet so few people do it. And the number of passwords, the plain, simple, easy to guess passwords is mind-boggling when you get into this. So with technology that can guess thousands of passwords in a second, a complex password is a strong password. You need to use letters, numbers with uppercase and lowercase, and special characters in your passwords, and regularly update them to protect your private data. Using a password generator or a password manager can help you select longer, more complicated passwords that will be extremely difficult to breach. Also, utilizing a certain memorable phrase, song lyric, or joke can be a good way to generate a password that is both complex but easy for you to remember. Try taking the first or last letter of each word of the phrase to build a jumble of characters you can remember, including capitalization, numbers, and characters for extra protection. I want to show you an image here in a minute that shows just how important that is. So the longer the password, the much more secure it will be. In addition, utilizing multi-factor authentication wherever available is another step that can help keep logins and systems more secure. So let's take a look at this graphic for just a minute. This is something I found. A colleague shared this on LinkedIn a little while back, maybe last week or something. But anyway, it talks about, here we can see the number of characters in a password, the number, so 4, 5, 6 on down to 18, and how quickly they can be brute force attacked or guessed, with numbers only, with lowercase letters, upper and lowercase letters, numbers, upper and lowercase letters, and then finally numbers, upper and lowercase letters, and symbols or special characters. So we can see down here, let's just say, let's take a 12-character password, for example. So with numbers only, it only takes 25 seconds to break that password. With lowercase letters, it takes 3 weeks. With upper and lowercase letters, it takes 300 years. When you add numbers, upper and lowercase letters together, it can take 2,000 years. And when you add special characters, it could take 34,000 years. So this is just a guide, kind of shows you how really weak our passwords are and can be. So even a 10-character password that's only using upper and lowercase letters can take only a month to breach. Okay. very important that you have strong passwords in place. So human error accounts for 95% of all cybersecurity breaches. Number 6, focus on your email security. Business email compromise is probably one of the most prolific types of attacks, and it's also one of the easiest to remedy. Okay, so social engineering attacks rely on human error to gain access to sensitive data and information through email. Employees account for 95% of cyberclaims, which is why training and education are key in building a culture of cybersecurity awareness. Here are a few steps that you can take to increase your email security. Okay, first of all, have dual authorization. So always have multiple people signing off on checks, ACH transactions, and wires. And always call the vendor directly with a public number or number you already have on file. When verifying, never use the number or email address listed on what could be a fraudulent invoice. Number 2, use a secure email gateway, or SEG. This software monitors emails both sent and received to defend against spam, malicious attacks, and fraudulent content. The tool we use in our own office and for our clients is called Mail Protector. And then number 3, use multi-factor authentication on your email. This security measure requires more than one method of authentication to confirm who the user is and grant access. This feature is often included and free in most email software and can be easily set up. Number 5, create a data breach response plan. While the prevention of cyber attacks is important, you will need to be realistic about the chances that you'll be affected and that a breach can likely occur. Setting up a data breach response plan, also called an incident response plan, in which every involved party understands their role, will help you act quickly and mitigate the potential damages. Having a team of experts on hand to guide you through the recovery process is key. This should include both a data forensics team and legal counsel. In addition, a communications team should be in place to notify all affected parties, including your employees, customers, investors, etc. Transparency is important so that consumers can protect themselves and their information. Finally, notify law enforcement, which may involve your local police, FBI, Secret Service, etc. And number 6, what this webinar is all about, get protected with a cyber liability insurance policy. One of the most important steps you can take in protecting your business from cyber attacks is purchasing a cyber liability policy. This doesn't actually protect you from a cyber attack, but it can certainly lessen the blow if or when a breach does occur. With this protection, you will have access to the best possible vendors to help begin the recovery process immediately. Ensure you're in compliance with the rules and regulations, and protect your reputation. As ransomware and other cyber threats won't be slowing down anytime soon, it's important to be realistic about protecting your business. And that's going to do it for today. At this time, I'd like to open it up to any questions that we have. You can use the Q&A box on the webinar. And I'll wait for just a minute to see if we have any questions pop up. All right. So next steps. As I mentioned at the beginning, we're offering a free dark web scan for each business represented here today. This dark web scan will let us know if any of your email credentials have been compromised on the dark web. If we find that they have, we will consult with you on the steps you should take to further protect your organization. You can also download a PDF version of these slides from this presentation at cttsonline.com/cyberwebinar. Cyber insurance is a complicated and ever-changing industry. There are many factors that can influence whether or not you qualify for a payout in the event of a cyber attack, and trying to remain compliant with your insurance policy can be difficult. Working with an IT service provider can help you better understand your options and ensure that you have adequate security in place, increasing your chances of receiving complete coverage. Not sure where to start? Give us a call. We can schedule a consultation. Our knowledge and experience may be just what you need. Here's our contact information. Our office is open Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. until 5:30 p.m. And we will answer the phone live within 3 rings. That's one of our promises. Thank you very much and have a great day.